Okay, picture this. You get that first smell of, maybe, Kashmiri Kahwa, that saffron scent mixing with the mountain air, or seeing those incredible tulips against the snowy peaks.
Ah, yeah. Vivid.
Today we're doing a deep dive right into Srinagar, the heart of Kashmir. We've gone through this really comprehensive guide, and our goal is basically to pull out the essence of the city for you.
Yeah.
Get beyond just the pretty pictures.
Exactly. Think of it as your shortcut to really getting Srinagar.
The source we looked at, it covers, well, pretty much everything: history, culture, food, modern life.
Right. And our mission here is to sort of unpack all that for you, give you that solid, insightful understanding without drowning you in, every single tiny detail.
Precisely. We know you're listening because you want to get the key info efficiently, but also thoroughly.
Yeah.
So let's jump in. This guide makes it clear Srinagar isn't just beautiful, it has seriously ancient roots.
Oh, absolutely ancient. The guide mentions it was founded by King Ashoka. We're talking over 2,000 years ago.
It's almost hard to wrap your head around that time scale, isn't it?
It really is. And as the guide lays out, its importance just grew. What's really fascinating, I think, is how it became this major crossroads for different spiritual paths.
Right.
You had early Buddhism, then Shaivism, that's a key part of Hinduism, focused on Shiva, and then later Sufi Islam made a huge impact, that mystical side of Islam,
So different faiths, not just existing side by side, but actually intertwining.
Deeply. According to the source, yeah. It
Uh-huh.
created this really unique spiritual atmosphere.
And then the guide talks about the Mughals arriving. You can just imagine that transformation, right? Royal gardens, mosques.
Oh, definitely. A huge imperial stamp on the city. We can touch on specific spots later, but yeah, that Mughal era was defining.
And the source traces how power shifted after that: Afghans, Sikhs, the Dogra kings. Quite a turbulent history leading up to 1947 and joining India.
It really highlights Srinagar's strategic importance over centuries. And as the guide points out, you can't really understand modern Srinagar without acknowledging its central role in the whole Kashmir conflict.
Yeah, that political dimension is key.
It creates this complex reality, incredible cultural depth alongside ongoing political unease. It's a duality the source emphasizes.
Absolutely. Let's dig into that cultural depth then. The guide describes this amazing mix: Persian, Central Asian, Indian, even Tibetan influences.
It's a real melting pot, and you see it everywhere, according to the source. In the strong Sufi traditions, the poetry, the music, even the art of calligraphy is big there.
And the handicrafts, of course. The guide mentions those specifically.
Oh yeah, world famous. Papier-mâché, that detailed walnut wood carving.
Those pashmina shawls.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievably soft, I imagine.
Right, and the carpets too, intricate patterns, amazing skill. You look at these things and the guide suggests they're not just souvenirs, they're like living history.
Embodiments of tradition carrying centuries of skill. That's quite something.
Definitely.
Okay, all this talk of culture makes me think of food. The guide mentions wazwan, a royal feast with, what, over 30 dishes?
At least. It's described as this incredible, elaborate, multi-course meal, a real culinary event. Think Rogan Josh, Gustaba, Rista, those rich, meaty dishes.
Wow, the names alone sound amazing.
And it's not just the food itself, but the whole ritual around serving and eating it. But then you also have the everyday stuff the guide mentions, like kahwa.
Ah, yes, the fragrant green tea.
Yeah.
Saffron, almonds.
You can almost smell it, right? And noon chai, that salty, pink, buttery tea, very distinctive, often had with bread.
Pink tea. That does sound unique. And the guide points out it's not all meat, right? There are vegetarian options.
Oh, for sure. Nadru yakni, made from lotus stem, apparently very popular. Dumalu, hawk those local colored greens, shows the diversity.
And street food, too. Kashmiri kanti, kebabs.
See kebabs, yeah.
Yeah.
And sherbel bread, so you get those quick, delicious tastes of local life as well. It all kind of reflects that cultural fusion we talked about.
Makes sense. Okay, moving from food to festivals, the guide covers the big religious ones: Eid, Shabi Barat, Urs for Sufi saints. Sounds like very community-focused spiritual times.
Deeply important occasions, yeah. Lots of prayers, family feasts.
But the one that really jumps out, visually at least, from the guide, is the Tulip Festival in April, Asia's largest.
Supposedly, yes. Imagine that scene. Thousands of tulips, all vibrant colors, with the Zabarwan hills in the background.
Just stunning. It really shows off the natural beauty.
Absolutely. And the guide mentions others too, Shakara Festival, Navraz, and Vratri again, showing that blend of traditions.
It's not just visual spectacles, though. The source mentions music and dance. Roof, Bhajanagma.
Right. Roof is a dance women often do during festivals. Wachanagma is more for weddings, apparently quite colorful.
And Sufiana Kalam. That sounds intriguing. Spiritual music.
Yeah, using instruments like the santoor and rabab, it's described as quite soulful, maybe a bit melancholic sometimes. And chakri too, folk music, storytelling in the local language.
So these arts are really woven into the fabric of life there.
Deeply, passing down stories, celebrating, expressing faith, it's all in there, according to the guide.
Okay, let's talk landmarks, the iconic places. The guide must highlight Dal Lake and Nijeen Lake.
Oh, absolutely central. The image of the shikaras, those decorated boats gliding on the water.
Or staying in a houseboat. Sounds like such a unique experience.
It really is presented that way, a very serene way to see the city. And then, of course, are the Mughal Gardens.
Shalimar Bagh, Nishat Bagh,
Yeah,
remnants of that royal past.
exactly. Designed for beauty, for contemplation, Chashme Shahi as well. Real historical gems.
And religious sites too. Hazrat Al Shrine, Jamia Masjid. The guide mentions their importance.
Both architecturally significant and deeply revered places, yes. And Shankaracharya Temple up on the hill.
With the panoramic views, right?
Supposedly incredible views, yeah. And the guide also stresses not forgetting the old city itself.
Ah, the bustling part.
Yeah, the narrow lanes, the spice markets, the artisans' workshops, a living piece of history. And circling back, that tulip garden, again, a modern wonder against this ancient backdrop.
So if you had to sum up the good and beautiful side, based on the guide, what really stands out? The natural beauty seems undeniable.
Definitely number one for many. But also, as we discussed, the incredible skill of the artisans and those famous handicrafts.
Right, the pashmina, the wood carving.
And that deep spiritual feeling the guide mentions coming from those Sufi and Buddhist roots. Plus, importantly, the warmth and resilience of the people themselves.
That resilience comes through. And the guide mentions positive changes since 2019. Better infrastructure, tourism picking up, improved security.
Yes, that's noted as a significant positive trend, a sense of increasing normalcy, perhaps.
Which explains why it attracts such different people. Filmmakers, poets, honeymooners, spiritual seekers.
It seems to offer something for all of them, according to the source. That multifaceted appeal is really part of Srinagar's character.
Of course, the guide doesn't shy away from the challenges, does it? The political instability, the curfews, internet shutdowns in the past.
No, it acknowledges those realities. The impact of the conflict on daily life, on the economy, on education, it's been significant, as the source indicates.
And limited job opportunities pushing young people to leave.
That's mentioned as a real issue, yes. Brain drain, essentially.
But as you said, the guide balances this with the recent improvements. Better security, tourism coming back, better public services. It ends on a more hopeful note.
It does suggest a sense of cautious optimism, yes. That despite everything, there's a feeling of moving towards a more stable, positive future. The resilience factor again.
So wrapping up this deep dive, a few things really stick with me from the guide. That incredible weight of history right alongside modern challenges.
The contrast is striking.
And that amazing cultural blend you see in the food, the festivals, the crafts.
The fusion is everywhere.
And finally, just the spirit of the people against that absolutely stunning natural backdrop. It's the contrast that make it so compelling, isn't it?
I think so. It's definitely not a simple place. And maybe that leads to a final thought, you know? Well, considering Srinagar's long, long history as this meeting point for different cultures, different faiths, weathering so much change, what can its journey, its story, as presented in this guide, maybe teach us about cultural resilience? About how identity adapts and endures even when things are constantly shifting?
That's a really interesting question to ponder. How does a place hold on to its essence through all that? Food for thought.
Definitely something to think about beyond the surface level.
Well, this has been fascinating. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us into Srinagar.
My pleasure.
Until our next exploration.